Today in How to Loom Knit, we'll be working decreases in lesson 9.0 and finishing up Grandma's favorite dishcloth pattern, learning how to decrease actually in two ways for the right and left side of it. Let's begin. Welcome to Good Knit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches. This week is the same supplies as last week. We're going to be finishing up our dishcloth pattern, and we're going to be covering two different decrease stitches. One is going to be worked on the left side, and it's actually a right leaning type of decrease. It's called a K2 tog. That's knit two together. And on the right side, we're going to be working a purl type of decrease, and it's called a slip purl because we're going to be working towards the left. It's a left leaning decrease, but it's on a purl row. So we'll cover those two today. For supplies, you just need what you had last week. We'll continue that on, and let's begin. To get the pattern to Grandma's favorite dishcloth, click on the link in the description below. All right, so we are ready to begin our decreases. We've got our length that we want. Now this is just a short, small sample, but you would have about 4.5 inches measured from the center point to the center point here, from this tip to the center point. All right, so we're going to begin by making row 5. It's ending here on our right, and of course that's if you've made it as a right-handed knitter. And we're going to purl the first stitch, okay, and then go ahead and keep it right where it is, and we're going to move it in just a moment. All right, so we're going to work the SSP, that's slip purl. Now it sounds more intimidating than what it actually is. You're actually going to be moving this stitch right here, okay, from the right onto the left. This is a left leaning decrease, and the stitch that's on the left goes on the bottom. So I'm just going to pick this one up here and putting it right on top here. So what's actually happening is you're slipping, or you're not working this stitch first, you're actually working this one. It's just the way that it sets up the stitches. And so now that we've moved those over and made an empty space, we can move over this first stitch over here, move our working yarn down to, and then we can tighten it up because it's still on that part where we just knitted. Okay, and then now we're going to pull our well, we just purled, I shouldn't say that. We're going to pull our yarn down in the front and purl these two stitches together, just like this. Okay, so purl these two, take it off, put it on. All right, now we need a yarn over. This is where we're going to be moving some more stitches. So we're going to do an SSP again, but leaving that blank one so we can have a yarn over. So we're going to move this over. All right, and then we need to go ahead and put that yarn over in. So we're decreasing here, and then we're increasing here, and we're decreasing here. So that means we're only changing our stitch count by 1 for this total number. Okay, so we're just going to yarn over, increase, and then do the decrease of the SSP by purling all of these two together. Now, if you had worked it right-handed, that's the words that we're using. If I flip the camera and move it to the left-handed, if you worked it left-handed, you're seeing it on the other side coming from the other direction. It's actually not called an SSP. Then it would be called a P2 tog, or purl two together. And so it's because you're working inward and which stitch falls on the top or the bottom. So at the other side, it would do that for a left-handed. So I just wanted to make note of those changes there. So continue purling your row, pause your video and meet me back up, and we will work on row 6 for the K2 tog. See you in a moment. Okay, we are on our left side. We're on row 6 and we're working in this direction. We're going to knit 1 for the first stitch, and then we're going to be moving our stitches to decrease with a knit 2 together, K2 tog. We'll be taking this left stitch and putting it on the right. So the right stitch is under the left stitch, and that is going to be a right leaning decrease. So those are going to get knit 2 together. First you can go ahead and move this stitch over and tighten that up, and now go ahead and knit those 2 stitches together. Okay, and now we want to put our yarn over, but first we're going to move over these 2 stitches because we need a knit 2 together right after that yarn over. So we just pick that left stitch up, put it on the right stitch, and then yarn over, increase. You've got to do that yarn over before you work those stitches. That's why you move it beforehand, and then knit them. And that's it. You're just going to knit the rest of the row. So you've just learned rows 5 and 6. So if you were working the K2 tog, knit 2 together, on this left side like we just did, it's called knit 2 together. But if I reverse the video, again, if we flipped it over and you were working left-handed, making your knits from this direction, and you moved it inward, you would be switching up which stitches on the bottom, and that would be called an SSK, or a slip-slip knit. So just like when we worked the slip-slip purl, moving things over where the right stitch is over on top of the left to make a left-leaning decrease, it's the same way. It's just that one is knit and one is purled, and that's really the only difference. So even though you learn 2 for yours, if you knit it the other way, or work it right or left, you can learn the 2 extra stitches, which are the same thing. They're just performed in an opposite way. So continue working on those for your dishcloth pattern until you have 5 remaining stitches. Go ahead and pause your video, and I'm going to show you what that looks like with the 5 left so I can show you how to finish this pattern. See you in a moment. All right, so you have your 5 stitches remaining, and you may have noticed that when you moved over your last yarn over to here on top and purl those together, it might have been a little bit difficult because it unwinds. That's totally okay. So you've got 5 stitches left. You're going to, on row 7, knit 1, okay, and pull that tight, and then you're going to knit 2 together, knit 2 together. So yes, you will be moving over the stitches, and then move this one over to the empty to get it closer. Tighten that up, and go ahead and knit these 2 together. Okay, and then do that one more time. Move the stitch over, and then you can move these stitches over. Just tighten it up after. Okay, so I tightened up enough to where this one and this one gets tightened. And then go ahead and knit that those last 2 stitches together. Okay. All right, so you've got 3 stitches on your loom. We're going to pull the yarn forward, and we're going to purl bind off. You're simply purling the first 2 stitches. All right, and then that second one, move it over to the first, and then knit that off, just lifting up and over. Pick it up and move it to the empty space. Tighten it up, and then purl the next stitch. Pick it up and move it over. Knit off. And then just use your yarn and come back over and just purl that off. And we're just going to pull it all the way through. And I already pulled this out just a little bit, but I want to show you about hand blocking. So yours may be kind of squished up and look more elliptical, or like a diamond or something. You can just kind of hand block and pull it out. Just kind of stretch it out like that. And then once you weave in your tail, like this one here and here, once you weave those in and throw it in the wash, this will close up a bit with the cotton yarn. It's more forgiving. This makes a really nice scrubbable dishcloth. I hope you enjoyed making your dishcloth and learning about decreases this week. And stay tuned for our next videos in our series. Be sure and click down the link below to see more of the videos in the previous part of the series, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.